All right, hello friends, we are back. We just did our energy exchange where we found out that the energy we would most benefit from releasing today was the energy of dishonesty, and the new replacement energy was intelligence. I love this. I know I always say that. I'm always like, I love this. Well, I do love this. I especially love this one. I think we all would benefit from being unblocked to our intelligence and opening ourselves up to true intelligence. And then I also think that there's something to be said for just releasing this energy of dishonesty. And this could be collectively the dishonesty that we're all experiencing that is happening out there in the media, out there in the world, in politics, wherever. And then also any personal dishonesty that we've been struggling with, whether that is dishonesty you've been receiving from the relationships around you or your own dishonesty. I was curious about that when this came up. When we were doing the energy exchange, I very briefly thought to myself, like, wow, I wonder how many people are struggling with dishonesty right now, struggling to be honest with those around them. It seems like this could be a time in life where that is coming up for a lot of people, because a lot of us are going through a deep transformation process via all that's going on in the world. Who we thought we were, who we thought we aligned with is changing as more honesty is coming forward in the media, more things are being revealed, more things are being released. As we gain this knowledge and this insight and this information, we are all, I think, it's so interesting because it's like we're not even choosing to change and transform. It's just happening naturally. It's like people that I know who have believed a certain way for such a long time are changing before my very eyes because of the process of gaining new insight, new information, new intelligence, new awareness. And I'm wondering what support those people need in the shift it's going to take for them to now tell their friends, their family, their community, hey, I don't believe what I used to believe. I don't align with what I used to align with. I no longer have the identity I used to have now that I have access to this truth. This new awareness is changing me. And I think some people are going to feel comfortable sharing that truth and sharing the fact that they are transforming and that their beliefs are different now, or the way they want to show up is different now. And other people are really going to struggle. They're going to want to keep performing in the old identity, in the old persona, in the old archetypes. And it might be difficult for some folks to outwardly express and share the internal change that is taking place. And so I am setting my intention that this clearing can be helpful for them in some way, specifically looking to support those people who are really struggling with being honest about the own internal transformation that is taking place for them. So I'm gonna get the rest of my thoughts, feelings, and opinions out of this, and we're just gonna dive right into the charts. I've prepped to work. Again, Spirit and the collective and I are one. My high self, my future self, this version of me that knows it all, has done it all, seen it all, has access to all of consciousness, all of information, all of language, all of truth, talking to that version of you as well. It's like the version of you that has been there, done that, seen it all, that collective pool where we get to swim together and go, oh yeah, I can see this more easily. I can see this more easily. I can see this more easily because I don't have the same boundaries of myself as an individual and my conscious mind getting in the way, telling me how things should be, telling me what the reality really is. In this work, we break all of that down and we're just looking at raw data. That is what I feel like I'm looking at, and what the pendulum is showing me is like the raw data. And yeah, I am the translator of that raw data. I am the conduit to bring that raw data forward. But to me, it feels like what I'm gathering is the realest of the real, the rawest of the raw, and we get it together. I get it by tapping into you, tapping into your own truth, your wisdom, your knowledge, your discernment, and we share in that together, which I think is a really cool part of spiritual response technique, which is what I'm doing right now. So let's get started. We're going to look at the root of this dishonesty. So let's look at the root of this dishonesty. What is happening here with this dishonesty? Is it 6B or 6C? Okay, this is a chart I don't get very often. So this is sort of a whole bunch of yucky energies. Interesting. So the root of this dishonesty is our over sympathizing with others. And this makes me think of the word merging. It's almost like in order to feel safe, we feel like we have to merge with other people. In order to feel accepted, in order to feel like we're going to survive, we have to over-sympathize with another, with other people, with what they're going through, with what, again, they think, feel, and believe. And so that is creating this sense of dishonesty, because it isn't about our truth. It isn't even about the truth. It's about, how can I get along? How can I belong? How can I feel accepted? And even if, sadly, for many of us, we are willing to lie, we are willing to mask, to put on a false identity in order to be accepted and in order to survive in the community in a way that we think is, important and necessary. And so this is part of the root of the dishonesty, is that we are trying to, again, overly connect with others. And we're willing to lie to get there. We're willing to lie in order to overconnect with others, or over-sympathize with others, or be in harmony and in community with others. What else do you want me to see about this root? What else can we know or see or feel about this root? Is this 2 or O2? This is chart 2. So we go here. Oh, that was O2. We go here to chart 2. Oh, selflessness and obedience. Selflessness and obedience. This is called our soul and our soul qualities. Our soul can have the quality of selflessness. Our soul can have the quality of obedience. And this tracks with what just came up, right? And selflessness and obedience in and of itself can be really beautiful and really wonderful. And yet it can also be, it can motivate dishonesty, because we are trying so hard to be selfless. We're trying so hard to be obedient that we are willing to lie to get there. And again, here's this dishonesty. So we're recognizing that our desire to merge with others, our desire to sympathize with others, be accepted by others, is creating an energy of dishonesty, which is blocking us to our own intelligence. And I that really rings true for me, because it's like, I can actually think of people who so desperately want to identify with the group that they're in that they actually block themselves from learning about other groups. I mean, think about what's, not always going on in all parts of the world or all parts of our country, but there are parts of our country that don't even want to have a halftime show in another language, because I just want to stay so boxed into my own community, my own language, my own people. I don't even want to hear about other cultures. I don't even want to see other groups. I don't even want to know what they're doing. I just want to be so solo focused on this right here. And I believe for some people who are like that, it is out of obedience. It is out of fear. It is out of survival. It's like, well, if I'm going to survive in this world, I must align myself like to like. I must align myself and be obedient to those that are just like me. And unfortunately, we miss out on so many opportunities, so many experiences, and a whole lot of intelligence by doing that. So releasing ourselves now, we're releasing the whole collective from any unhealthy, imbalanced desire to be selfless in obedience to a cause, to a group, to a community, to a culture that doesn't actually serve us, that blocks us to our intelligence. Yeah, and we're calling it our awareness now to the beauty of diversity, to the beauty of change, to the beauty of branching out, to the beauty of differences. We're just asking for the whole collective awareness to be elevated now to that place, to that space of understanding the beauty, the joy, the benefit of the other, the benefit of differences, the benefit of, not just performing obedience for the sake of getting along or the sake of connecting with your kind. Okay, awesome. So is there more? I'm going to ask a yes or no. So I'll try to face the camera here for this. So this is my no, and then my yes is this way. So, and I don't know how easy that is to see. I feel like, especially right now with this view that I'm doing here, but I'm going to ask, Is there more you want me to explore when it comes to the root of this dishonesty? And you see, now that's a no. So I'm getting a full no. There's nothing more we want to explore on the root. So now that means the door has opened for us to explore our own openness to intelligence, and then any blocks we may have to that intelligence. We talk about this all the time, our own openness, our willingness, our own desire to call in that intelligence. Where is that at? We check those numbers, and we'll do that in a minute here. And then any external blocks, any external factors that could be getting in the way of our desire to have that intelligence and to call that intelligence in. So I go to a percentage chart. Down here, it's kind of like a half of a flower, right? Down here on my chart is a 0, then over here is a 100. And we're going to say, what percent open are our hearts and our minds to this intelligence? 0%. That's all the way down at the bottom. And then we're going to ask, what percent are we blocked externally from calling in this intelligence? And see now, that's 100. So we're 0% opened. The gate is shut. And there's blocks all along the way. So let's start to dive into that. That's what we do now. So we say, what is going on with our openness? What is preventing us from being open? Can you show us what is preventing us? Now it's taking me to an archetype chart. So this is interesting. So we're going to go to our other archetypes chart, and we're going to say, what is this thing that is preventing us from not being open? Our self-esteem. Our self-esteem is so deeply tied to what other people think. Our self-esteem is so deeply tied into the acceptance, into the group, into the identity, into the culture of our likeness, that we are now not even open at all to any other kind of intelligence. And so we're just asking right now for everyone's self-esteem to be taken from the lowest of the low. Oh, and I gotta let it exhale into the highest of the high. That felt really heavy when I said that. I felt like I was an elevator that was filled with, 20 million elephants just now. Like I really did. I felt all of a sudden my weight drop. When I said bring our self-esteem from the lowest of the low, I felt that physically in my body, that it is in fact true that our collective self-esteem is stinking low. And now we're calling it up, and I'm visualizing that elevator rising and rising and rising, bringing our self-esteem higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. And we're just allowing the 20 million elephants to be elevated up into the sky, up into the clouds, feeling really good about themselves. And I'm hearing, this sounds weird, y'all, sorry, but I'm hearing like celebratory elephant calls. Have you ever seen elephants gather around a female elephant when she has given birth, and then the elephant is born, and there's just this cacophony of joyous singing in the elephant community? That's what I'm hearing and feeling now as our elephant selves are raising up in elevation. Our self-esteem is rising, and we're feeling really good about ourselves. We're feeling really good about who we are, whether we are aligned with our like community or not, whether or not we are just mimicking and merging with those that are just like us. Oh, God, and that feels so true. I would like to believe that so many people have only bought into the hate and the vitriol because they feel so horrible about themselves otherwise. And that is just the thing that they feel like, okay, well, if I hate the other, then it distracts from the hate that I just have for myself. And I know for some people that's not true. Some people just have personality disorder. Some people are just evil. That's just true. Some people are just filled with demons, for my opinion. And I'm not talking about them, but I'm talking about the large majority of people, those people who are just, the minions, people who are just, honestly have just kind of taken a number. They're not even their own person anymore. They've just so bought into the story, so bought into the identity of this collective they're trying to connect with, that they've just completely lost sight of themselves. And really, again, what this is telling me is, I think it's true, the root of a lot of that for a lot of people is just not loving themselves. And when you truly do love and accept and embrace yourself, and you have good self-esteem, true good self-esteem, not pretend self-esteem, not cockiness, none of that, but true confidence in who you are, you're naturally transformed into loving and appreciating other people. your vision becomes clear. Your vision of other people becomes clear. You are no longer threatened by anyone else, because let's be real, so much hate that's out there is based off of this feeling that they are threatened by the other. They're threatened by somebody else coming in here and taking over their culture. They're threatened by other people coming in and taking their jobs. They're threatened by the idea of somebody else's music, taking the place of their own. They're threatened. They're threatened, not recognizing that there is a place in the world for everyone, whether you're in a group or whether you are an individual. There is a place in the world for all of us, all expressions. That's why we're all here. That's why we all individuated. We did not individuate to become a part of a group. We individuated to be ourselves, to experience ourself, to experience what it is like to be a self. And so many people are missing out on that opportunity. So many people just want to put on the uniform, put on the outfit, blend right in with everybody else. And again, the root of that is low self-esteem. So now that we've brought the elephants up the elevator, what percent are we now open to our intelligence? 100%. So that was great. We fixed that one right there, but we know that we're still blocked, right? And those blocks are those external factors. So let's look at the external factors, those external blocks. So we go back to our chart and we say, what can you show us about the things that are blocking us to our intelligence? What can you show us? Abdication of our own mental authority. We just give our mental authority away. We give our mental power away. We abdicate our own mental power, mental authority to someone else. We're like, can you please write the rules and the laws and I will just follow them? Can you please just tell me what to think, feel, and believe? You just tell me what to think, feel, and believe. To the point where, as long as you are wearing my uniform, right? As long as we're all wearing the same uniform, I will just go along with whatever you say I should think, feel, and believe, even if it is in contradiction to the thing you told me to think, feel, and believe yesterday. I could give you a million examples of that right now. I'm not going to because I don't want to get shadow banned, but people are so willing to give their mental authority away. People are so willing to give away their own intelligence, to block their own intelligence, because it just feels safer and easier to be a part of the group, to buy what the group is saying, to buy into the group beliefs, to buy into the group dogma, to just, follow the group rules. Because deep down, it's fear-based. I am afraid of being rejected if I express my true beliefs, my true thoughts, my true opinions. If I go out on a limb like that and I express my mental authority and people reject me, what now? Now what am I going to do? Now what am I going to do? I'm going to be abandoned. I'm going to be a laughing stock. I'm going to be mortified. I'm going to have shame. I'm going to have guilt. And potentially I'll die because I won't be a part of the community. This is primal, right? This is very primal. We've been doing this for a very long time. Culturally, we've been doing this for a very long time. There wouldn't be the idea of the rebel if there wasn't also the idea of the group. And it's more often that there are larger numbers in the group than there are of the rebels. That's changing, I think. Age of Aquarius that we're in right now, I think that's changing. But historically, many people feel safer being a part of the group, and again, giving their intelligence away to the group versus having their own thoughts, their own feelings, their own identity. There's little nuance. Very little nuance. I'm gonna check in. I'm gonna show up to the place and the time that everybody says I'm supposed to show up to, and then when they tell me how I'm supposed to perform, what I'm supposed to think, how I'm supposed to act, I'm just gonna do that. Because again, it feels safe. It feels safe. I really do think so many of the world's problems come down to us prioritizing safety over so many other things. And in the grand scheme, your safety is a joke. Your safety is a lie. None of us are actually safe. None of us are actually safe. An asteroid could fall down and land on your house right now. You could get hit by the mail truck when you go outside, to whatever, visit your neighbor. Safety is an illusion. It's an illusion, and yet we give ourselves away to it. We give our desires away to it. We give our authenticity away to it. We give our power away to it, to safety. And if we truly accepted and understood the infinite nature of consciousness, because that's all this is consciousness. That's all this is. This is just consciousness experiencing itself. And consciousness experiencing, what it's like to create and live inside of different realities and different realms. And yes, I absolutely believe there are different realities and different realms, many of which going on all at the same time. You're just not aware of them. But if we really truly embrace the infinite nature of our awareness and of consciousness, we would realize that safety is sort of a joke. Safety is sort of a make-believe thing. Because again, it isn't real. And also, you will travel. Your consciousness is going to travel through many different realms, many different realities, many different lifetimes. So, again, what is it that you're really looking out for? What is it that you're really trying to achieve? That would be my question to you. So now we're going to ask, what % are we blocked to our intelligence now that we did this? 40%. So let's dive in a little bit further. Let's go all the way till we're at 0. What can we do to clear out this final 40% block to our intelligence? We're going back to the same chart. We're going back to another archetype. So let's look at this. So what other archetype is here that you want to show us and talk to us about? Interesting. Well, this is a little bit different. So this is the negative potential of health abuse. So health abuse is actually blocking us from our intelligence. This feels like we're going in a little bit of a different track here. This feels a little bit different. So we have on this chart, we have positive potentials, right? And it's weird that this chart is sort of talks about archetypes. The reason it does is because there's some, there's some references and symbolism around the disciples on this chart. And so when we were talking about self-esteem, that is in connection to the symbolism of the disciple James, right? So that's on the outer wheel of this chart. On the inner wheel of this chart is like these negative potentials that we all have inside of us. We all have this negative potential to do a thing, right? To self-destruct, to have self-limitation, to punish ourselves, to have depression, to have addictions, to have frustrations, all these things. Well, we also all have this negative potential to abuse our health. And this is saying to me, when I ask, what do we need? What is an external block that is getting in our way of our intelligence, abusing our health? And I'm just going to be honest, y'all. The first thing that popped into my head is that we are willingly and knowingly consuming stuff that is creating ill health in our body, which is blocking us to our intelligence. It's making us tired. It's making us sick. It's killing us. The things we are doing, whether that is consuming poisonous substances, again, knowingly or unknowingly, whether that is overindulging in things or underindulging in things like fiber and water. So the message for me right now in all of this is to bring into your awareness the way in which you abusing your health is also you blocking your own intelligence, you blocking yourself to truth, you blocking yourself to wisdom, you blocking yourself to discernment, because those things need our body to be healthy too. And not to say that you can be unhealthy, or not to say that you can be unhealthy and have no intelligence, but in this particular case, for this particular clearing, Spirit is asking me to bring up to us all the acknowledgement that abusing our health is preventing us from experiencing the intelligence that we need. So just think on that. That's what I'm asking you to do. Think on that. I'm going to ask for anything else that we can look at about this block to our intelligence. We're back to the first chart. Looks like we're going to have about 2 charts we cover today. Ooh. Composure and benevolence. Is this composure or benevolence? That's what I thought. So benevolence. Benevolence to me is grace, it is kindness, it is compassion, it is forgiveness. And so we are blocked to our forgiveness, we're blocked to our compassion for ourselves or for other people, We need to be more compassionate with other people, getting us out of the group think, again, getting us out of the us versus them mentality. That's what we need to be focusing on. Taking good care of ourselves, accepting ourselves as individuals, and then forgiving other people for being their selves, forgiving other people for being who they are, accepting other people, being benevolent to other people, no matter where they're at on the journey. They can be anywhere in the journey, anywhere at all. but we accept them wherever they are at. And we don't have to align with them. We don't have to backtrack to be with them. We don't have to shift ourselves to be with them. We don't have to try to fix them and bring them to where we're at. We just accept them and embrace them, offer them our compassion, our grace, and our forgiveness, and then stand fully in our power and our truth of who we are, what we believe, what we think, and what we feel. Fantastic. Okay, so now I'm going to ask, now what percent are we blocked to our intelligence? Now we're at 0%. So I'm just going to say thank you. That's great. Wonderful. We're doing 100% of 100%, a mop up for those that have never seen a video before. This is when we just imagine the entire thing being cleared, right? Imagine a chalkboard. We're just making sure that the whole chalkboard is cleared. I like to imagine a gymnasium. I don't know why, but like the biggest gymnasium you've ever seen in your life. And we pick up every spare little kernel of popcorn, every flick of glitter from the cheerleader's face that had dropped on the floor. We're clearing everything up from the whole gymnasium. And we're filling ourselves with a replacement energy. So we know that we've called in intelligence, but we also want to fill ourselves up with just as many good energies as we possibly can. Self-forgiveness. Self-forgiveness, that's it, just one. Sometimes it's 10, today it's 1. So we're filling ourselves up with some self-forgiveness now. I'm getting used to this view on the camera. Where do I look? Do I look at myself? Do I look over at the camera hole? Where do I look? I don't know where I look. We're figuring it out, folks. I'll learn. All right, what do we do now? We drop back in. We find ourselves right here, right now, in this very present moment, not worrying about the past or thinking about the future, just softening into the here and now, softening into the belief that healing is possible, that release is possible, that change is possible, that we don't have to hang on to the outdated, outmoded ways of being, that we can fully decide for ourselves who and what we want to be moving forward. All right, y'all. I hope that was helpful for you in some way, and we will see you next time on another episode of Clearing with Kate.